Hi guys, my name is Mike Kennedy. I've for the last 15 years I've been working and recruiting for some of the biggest corporate employers in the UK. And in early 2013, I set up Assessment Centre HQ.com, which is a free resource that helps people that have got interviews, assessment days, assessment centres coming up in the near future. And in this short video, we're going to talk about aptitude tests, what they are, what you should expect, some tips for success. So let's get to it. What is an aptitude test? An aptitude test is it's a form of psychometric testing, which is basically a fancy way of saying measuring mental ability. So it's mind measuring is basically what psychometric testing means. So an aptitude test is a form of psychometric test, and often people will sort of confuse the two terms. It means pretty much the same thing. They're kind of interchangeable. So an example of an aptitude of a specific aptitude test would be a verbal reasoning test, for example, or a numerical reasoning test. You will get lots of other reasoning tests. That's really common. So you can get spatial reasoning tests, inductive reasoning, mechanical reasoning tests, and obviously they tend to be for sort of more engineering based roles. But by far and away the most common ones are verbal reasoning and numerical reasoning. They're two forms of aptitude testing. Also, you will often get job specific or industry specific aptitude tests that ask questions or build a scenario about a certain role, and that's much more targeted to the core competencies of that specific role. It tends not to be that granular though, as a rule, and most sort of big corporate employers in the UK, it's sort of verbal reasoning, personality tests, numerical reasoning. That's kind of the extent of it. So that's what an aptitude test is, and there's some of the different types of aptitude testing that you can get, and I go into more detail on those specific types and in other videos, and also over at the site assessmentcentrehq.com. But now we're going to talk about three tips that you can use across all types of aptitude testing that will be a massive help to you in succeeding in your aptitude test. Okay, so number one, practice beforehand. So before the actual event or interview or assessment centre or whatever it may be, when you actually have to go and sit your aptitude test, practice it beforehand. Again, over on the site we've got tons of free practice tests that you can use. That will be a huge help because it gets you comfortable with the format of the test. It lets you know what to expect. It gets you used to the sort of timed element of the tests, and it will just let you know what to expect. There's much more chance of you succeeding in your aptitude test if you've practiced it beforehand, know what to expect, and are more comfortable and relaxed when you're taking the one that actually matters. Okay, so that's tip number one, is practice beforehand. Tip number two is stay calm. That's easier said than done, I know, but it's really important, because lots of these tests ultimately measuring your kind of logical ability, and when you're anxious or on edge or nervous, you don't think straight, and you don't think with a clear mind. So it's really important that you stay calm. Again, over on the site we've got tons of material that will help you, that helps to reduce interview nerves, things you can do beforehand, but also emergency measures that you can take on the day, which will reduce anxiety levels. So that's tip number two, is stay calm. Tip number three is manage your time carefully. Regardless of what the aptitude test is, you need to manage the time that's available carefully. Scan ahead and see how many questions you have to answer. Understand how long you've been given to complete the exercise, and then you can quickly work out how many seconds you're going to have available for each question. If you get stuck on a question, just move on, because you'll often find that if you spend 4 or 5 minutes agonising over a particular question, you could have moved on and answered 3 or 4 others correctly. So that's tip number 3, is manage your time carefully. So those 3 things again: practice beforehand, stay calm during, and manage your time while you're actually doing your aptitude test. You can find our sort of index of guides that we have for different types of aptitude tests at assessmentcenterehq.com/AT. That will automatically take you to a section where you can find guides on numerical reasoning tests, verbal reasoning tests, psychometric tests, and personality tests. There's free practice tests there for you. There's in-depth guides. There's video tutorials as well. So do go ahead and check that out. And you'll find lots of other stuff on the site that will help you as well at assessmentcenterehq.com. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you over at the site. Thanks.